Welcome everyone to PDF Magic. This is where we're going to spend some time learning how to use those PDFs that you have in your drive in a more efficient way for students to be able to interact with. So you know who I am, you know where to find me. Let's get started. What's in your drive? You know we all have them, those PDFs that we've had in our filing cabinets for years and years and just can't get rid of. And we want to make them digital, so we scan and email them to ourselves. Or with the rise of teacher pay teacher and sharing things back and forth, our drive might be filled with lots of things that we've gotten from other people as well. Now we know that they're not super easy to work with or haven't been in the past. And now that we're working more digitally, whether it's remotely or with you in the class with the students, we need to use those PDFs more efficiently. So there's some tools that we're going to talk about today that allow you to interact with those PDFs. The first one is using the screenshot tool on your computer and Google Slides. We also have a fabulous tool that's called the PDF Reader from our favorite purple puzzle piece, Read and Write for Chrome, and the ability to print but not actually print. Those are some great tools that you can use. So let's get started. For younger students, the easiest thing that we can do is to put it into a Google slide for them to be able to interact with. This is a little more work on the teacher's part, but for the younger students, it's going to be easier for them to be able to work with it. So I've added some steps here, and then I'm going to leave this up here for a little bit, but then I'm going to actually just go ahead and show you what this is going to look like. The important part is that you know how to use a screenshot tool. If you're on a laptop or a desktop computer and it's Windows based, then or a PC, then you're going to use what's called the Snip Sketch tool, and I'll show you how to find that. If you're on a Chromebook, you're going to use Control plus the very top row of keys. There is the one with a little rectangle and two lines beside it. And if you're on a Mac, you probably already know how to do this, and I am not sure because I've never owned a Mac. Make sure that you zoom out if you can't see it all, because remember, you're taking a picture here. Then you're going to save it, add it to a slide presentation, but we're going to go all through that together. So I'm just going to get out of this presentation, and I'm going to go ahead and start talking about what do we do next. So first of all, I'm going to find the PDF that I want to use. So I actually want to use this weather instruments one. Actually, no, let's use the word letters. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my word letters PDF. So I'm going to double tap on that, and mine already opens up with my purple puzzle piece. So I've done the work already to get it to do that. And you can see that I have some that are upside down, but this is 15 pages. And I don't want to assign my students 15 pages worth of work to do. And also because I'm going to use this with younger ones, then I am going to make sure that I just have one. So it doesn't matter how it opens up, whether it's in Read and Write or whether it's in something completely different. What you want to do is you make sure it fits your page so that you can see everything. It doesn't have to be super clear, but you just want to be able to see everything on it. So now the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to find my Snip and Sketch. So I have mine pinned down here to my taskbar, but let's go ahead and let's search for it here. So Snip, and you can see as I start typing, then it gives me some suggestions. So snipping tool is still usable, but it's an old tool. So they're trying to replace it with this Snip and Sketch. When you get the Snip and Sketch app, and it looks like this over here, if you right click it, you can pin it to your taskbar. Now, I don't like to pin things to start because we don't often use our start menu, but our taskbar is down here. And if you pin it to your taskbar, it's always going to be there. So I can see my little snip and sketch is always there, and it's easier for me to find it at a later date. So I'm just going to click on it now that it's pinned, and I'm going to go new, and I'm going to just choose the part of this that I want to take a picture of. Okay, or take my screenshot. So I do that. Now this is important. We cannot just copy and paste it. I often will do this as an email, and I'll just copy this thing and paste it into an email or something like that. But when we're doing this with Google Slides, we actually have to save it. So when I click my save button, another key point is make sure you know where this is going, because you want to be able to find it afterwards. And also be careful about what you're naming it, so again, that you can find it easier. Now, I know we tell everybody don't save anything on your desktop, but we all know that the desktop is the easiest place to find things. And because this is something that is not permanent, I am going to do just that. So I'm going to make sure that it says desktop over here. You can see it says desktop at the top. And I am going to call this word ladder 1. Word ladder 1, and make sure it's saving as a PNG. Okay, so I'm going to hit save, and that way I know where it is, I know where to find it afterwards. If you're not careful about that, it could be saved in random places. It usually is saved in your downloads, but depending on what you chose last, it could be anywhere. So now I'm finished with this. I'm going to go ahead and close that. And now I'm going to start a new slide presentation. So slides.new allows you to create a new slide presentation even when you're not in your drive. So first of all, I want to get my slide presentation all set up. So I'm going to get rid of themes. I'm going to go over here and change my layout to blank. Now I know that typically a lot of people say to select this and then press delete, but I actually like to just go into my layout and change it to a blank one. As we're using a PDF, PDFs are usually page sized. We're going to change our page setup here to custom and the same size as a 8.5 by 11 inches, same size as a page. And then it's going to paste in there very nicely. I'm going to call this word ladder. And once I've done that, now I'm going to go into my slide itself here, and I am going to use background. I'm going to choose an image for my background. I'm going to upload it, make sure it says upload, and browse for my, and now make sure it takes me to the desktop, and I can either look for it, and this is going to be in alphabetical order as well, or I can just, if I remember the name of it, I can type it in. So there's my word ladder, and I'm going to go open, and you can see now that this pops it into the background. Now I'm not finished here, because what I need to do for my students is I need to provide some text boxes for them to write in. So I always like to zoom in a little bit. Let's go to 100. So you can see it's not super clear, but they should be able to, they're probably not going to zoom in quite this far. But what I'm going to do, a word ladder starts at the bottom. I'm going to add a box here for them to write in. I do not use text boxes. Text boxes are a pain in the neck. They never quite do what I think they're going to do, and they're a lot more fiddly. Tip to do this is you can actually use a shape. So I'm going to use my favorite rounded rectangle shape. That's my favorite one. And I'm going to make it the size of basically where I want them to write. Okay. Now I'm going to get that box ready So I'm going to make the inside of it transparent, and the border color, I'm going to make it a nice light color so that the students can see that they need to type something in there. And I'm just going to double tap in this and write type. And I'm going to center that for them. And I'm going to click away and see. Now my box isn't super light or easy to see, so I'm going to make it a bit darker. When I click away, oh, that's good. So now what I'm going to do is this box, it's exactly the way I want it. Instead of going and making a new one, I can just duplicate this box. So if you do not know the Control D function or feature, Control Duplicate, you should get a sticky right now and stick that somewhere close to your computer so that you remember what that Control D does. It's a game changer. It's a life changer. It makes your work in Google Slides and a lot of other places much smoother and much quicker when you use that. So I'm happy with this text box as long as I have my box around it and I'm not here in the middle. I'll just click on this again. I'm going to do Control D. It duplicates my box. I grab that, move it up to here. Maybe I'm going to make this a little bit bigger because I want it to be able to fit there. And I'm going to duplicate that one and move it up here. That one, move it up here. There we go. Duplicate, move it up. And you see I haven't had to change. Now if I had changed my font, same thing, right? I could make that bold, I could make it do whatever. And I'm just going to keep adding those little text, not text boxes, but did you know that any shape at all turns into a text box when you double tap in the middle? So no longer wants to bookmark because Control D bookmarks when you're on when you haven't actually chosen anything. I forgot to tap on this. Control D, move it up. I'm going to make that box a little bit shorter. One more. Okay. So there is my word ladder. And that is all set for my students to work in. Maybe I'm going to add one more text box up here for their name. And again, I'm going to make that transparent. I'm going to make it a little bit brighter so that they know that they need to type in there and put their name on it. And double tap in the middle. And yep, that's pretty good. I'm going to just move that box around a little bit. Sure. I'm happy with that. So that's word ladder work. It's got all of my text boxes there for my students to do. And what I'm going to do then is I'll be able to go into Google Classroom, create an assignment, assign the word ladder work, and make sure that I give a copy to every student. And then they'll be able to fill in this word ladder in the slides, the copy that it makes for them, and hand it in that way. So that works. I'm just going to close that up. Whoops. This one. That works for our younger students. Now you can see there is a fair amount of work that you need to do. So again, for the younger students, this is a good one for them. For older students, you know, you don't really need to or want to put in all of that time for them. You could do the same and tell them to put their own text boxes in, but there is another easier way for older students, and that's using our purple puzzle piece, Read and Write. But we're going to use another feature that we actually pay for as part of Read and Write, and it's called the PDF Reader. So the first thing that you need to do, and then when we have students, we're going to need to coach them through this as well. We're going to have to make sure that the tools, the options are turned on that enable classroom integration. I think this one is default already. And to be honest, I'm not positive if it's for students, if it's defaulted for this one, but it doesn't hurt to go in and check. Open web PDFs, this is optional. If you find a PDF online and you have that checked off, it just means it's going to open it using the text help reader all the time, just like mine did. So I'm going to go here in my extension bar to PDF Reader. I'm going to go to Options, and I'm going to make sure that this Enable Classroom Integration is on. This is important not just for teachers, but for students as well, okay? And open Classroom PDFs directly. So I'm going to make sure those are checked off, and then I'm just going to close that and close that and close that. And I don't need this open anymore, so I'm going to close that. There is a video here where it walks through those steps and what they are for students. So that's something that you could post in your Google Classroom to make sure that they've done it properly, or else walk through it with them if you actually have them in class. So let's go ahead and do that. So step one here is to prep the PDF. Do I need to take out some of the pages? Because we all know that if we use Teacher Pay Teacher, quite often they've added teacher instructions, they've added their own page to it, they've added the answer key. And so you may not be able to or want to just assign them the whole PDF. So I have this one, The Trial of SpongeBob SquarePants, and I am going to open it up. And again, you can see I've got 11 pages on here. And so this is about the trial of SpongeBob SquarePants. And the idea is that you have to use all of the evidence to try and figure out who did it. So, but you can see here that there's a whole bunch of pages that I would not want to have in there because there are teacher instructions, there is possible answers. So I need to figure out what I want and what I don't want. And the easiest way to do that is to use my print tool. So it says it's preparing for printing. It's getting everything ready. We're going to be patient, even though patience is not my virtue. And normally what you would have is you would have like, you know, the office printer or the workroom or something like that. But what I can do is I can save as PDF. I'm going to save this to my Google Drive. But I am going to customize the pages that I want. So I need page 1. Then, well, I guess I'm going to wait and see. Maybe I'll have a little sticky for this. I need page 1. See what it all looks like. I'm going to get my little sticky ready, and I'm going to say I need page 1, 2. And I think this page 2 is like some examples. So I'm going to leave that in 4, 5, 6, 7, And it looks like that is it, because there's teacher instructions and then possible answers. So that's good. So I'm only going to need pages 1 to 7. So I'm going to go custom. I'm going to go 1 to 7. And then I'm going to say save. Again, being patient. Now, when this saves, it's going to save into just into your regular drive. So you'll need to be able to, again, find that. Trial of SpongeBob SquarePants. So I'm just going to close this. I'm going to go back to my drive. I'm going to go down, all the way down, because remember, it's alphabetical. So keep going. L, R, S. There it is. Trial of SpongeBob SquarePants. Oh, great. And there's 2. So I wonder which one it would be. Well, let's open one and see. If it's 11 pages, it's the wrong one. Yes, I got it right. All right. So first of all, this says, we can't find any text in this document. So that's fine. I could convert it with Snapverter. That would be a suggestion for another day. Snapverter is how you can get it to recognize text, and then you would be able to read it. I'm not going to worry about that right now. What happens now is I am not able to use my highlighter because of that, because it doesn't recognize that there's any words to highlight, but I can use my other tools. So as a teacher, I am able to use all of these tools to annotate and write things. Maybe I'm going to use my freehand drawing here. I'm going to use a yellow line color, and I'm going to make that line nice and thick. And maybe, so now I have to make my choices first, and then I'm going to click on draw a line, and then I am going to underline instructions because I really want them to read that. So I can do this. I don't have to do anything at all here. The great feature is when I've changed my PDF to enable that classroom integration, I now have these buttons over here. So now I'm going to click on that classroom button, and oh look, it pops up this window. I'm going to choose my class that I'm going to assign it to. I'm going to create an assignment with it. And then when I say go, it's going to take me into there, and everybody knows to title Trial of SpongeBob. It's in your groups. Follow the instructions to defend SpongeBob. And here is where it's important again. Super important that you make a copy for each student. When you make a copy for each student and you assign it, I'm going to give it a topic so I can find it again easier. Assign that right in that PDF. So I can view it if I want, but I don't think I'm going to bother. But the neat thing about this is students actually, and you know what? I'm going to hop over to my student account and show you what this is going to look like. So I'm going to go into Google Classroom here. And here's my learning classroom. Oh, here's my new assignment, Trial of SpongeBob. Here it is for me. And now that I had those things checked off as well, when it opens, I get those tools too. Oh, I bet you I didn't put it for Google Classroom. Let's see, options. Oh, I did. Okay. Oh, I just had to be patient. So now I can do all the same stuff. I can go into my, evidence items. So I'm going to go down to my work and I'm going to add text boxes. So I'm going to add typewriter, and right here I can say evidence item number 11. And if I'm happy about that, I'm just going to click that. And again, I'm going to click over here and I'm going to start typing. What do they prove? They prove that SpongeBob is guilty because he wants to be able to make his Krabby Patties at home, but didn't get the recipe. Now, all I need to do there is I'm just going to grab those dots and make my box filled there. I can move it around if I need. I can make the font bigger and smaller. I can use my prediction tool to help me with spelling of words. I can also use the talk and type. So if my mic's working, then I can start recording and have it write down. Just like all of those great tools, I can change the color of my font. So all of these things are available to students. And I'm just going to move that so it sits on the lines a little better. And then check mark again. So some really great things that students can do right on that PDF without them having to make a copy and add all these things on it. And really, it was very little work for you because we're using that PDF reader. So a little bit different. And you know what? I might even think about doing this with littles as well, because really you're just having to get a text box and put it in. The nice part about this is I can hand it in right here in the PDF. I don't need to go back to Classroom. I'm just going to click on that. It's going to take me back there because we all know that that's been one of the issues, is that students do the work and then they don't hand it in. So it took me back. I go turn in. Am I sure you're going to turn it in? Yes, absolutely. And that PDF has been done. So I really think that using that tool is a super wonderful way to interact with those PDFs. And I really hope to see people using it more often. If you have any questions about this, you know where to find me. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to this. Bye now.